And good afternoon, and welcome back to yet another edition of Tell Me Something Good. I'm so proud of this body of work. Every afternoon, we're coming to you with real people giving you real good stuff. And how much better does it get if you have a good man giving you good stuff? So I'm super proud, super happy to welcome my friend Rick Goodman. This guy's a world-renowned speaker. When I was getting involved in the speaking business, he was one of those guys. He reached out a hand. He said, "What can I do to help?" Law of reciprocity works. I just did his podcast. So Rick Goodman, it is your chance to tell us something good, brother. Welcome aboard.
Well, I got some great news here. A lot of people are out there. They're worried. They don't think things are going right. And let me tell you something that they don't really see. Because I have this philosophy, and I call it the helicopter philosophy. And when anything goes wrong, people are in phase one. And when they're in phase one, they're kind of butting heads. In phase two, they're trying to figure it out. In phase three, they get up in a helicopter, and then they could see down. So, kind of for instance, when they had the earthquake in Haiti, the first thing everybody did was throw supplies at them. And what happened to the supplies? They sat on the tarmac and people argued, they're butting heads, they didn't know what to do. And then the president sent in the Marines in helicopters. They got up in the air and they were able to look down over the distribution sites and get the food to the people that really needed it. When we can get up in that helicopter and look down on a situation, we're going to really see the opportunities. And here's the opportunities. It's a level playing field. For salespeople like never before, this is the first time it's a level playing field. Now, why is that? Most everybody's working from home, so the old rules don't work anymore.
Wow, fantastic.
Sitting right here, we're talking, we're our own media. I just came from out of my office. Once I saw you sitting in here, I said, I'm not going to be in front of the green screen. I'm going to get out in real life like you, and I'm going to adapt. I'm going to pivot. I'm going to change things a little bit. See, but every single person on the planet who's a salesperson has that opportunity now to be able to connect and reach out to people, whether it's through LinkedIn, one of your specialties, or anything else, where before it was more of a insider's job. People had access. And now
I think that's really well said, man. I really like that. And I'm a student of the game. I hear all kinds of theories. That helicopter theory, having the chance to get up above it and look down that 10,000 feet, I could not agree with you more. It's fantastic. Now, I know you as a guy who, in the middle of a shitstorm, you're still smiling. You have great energy. For my audience, why don't you tell them a little bit about who you are, what you've done in your life? You're all over the place. You're a speaker. You're an entrepreneur like me. You've written tons of books. You're world-renowned in your leadership training. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about it?
My path is a little ridiculous. I started out as a 24-year-old doctor in St. Louis. My patient said, "Are you old enough to be a doctor?" And I would hire older people to make me look older. That really didn't work. And I grew the biggest practice in St. Louis by the time I was 24. And then other doctors from around the country said, "How'd you do it?" So I started showing doctors on how to do it. And I started doing consulting and sold my practice. And then a friend of mine said, "You need to go back into practice." And I said, "I really don't want to do this." He said, "You know what, but I'm going to get you a whole bunch of patients." And my friend, his name's Harold Lewis. He owns a national sports agency. He's also the guy who coined the phrase, "Show me the money." And when the Los Angeles Rams moved to St. Louis, I became one of the team physicians for the St. Louis Rams and then also the St. Louis Ambush. And people think, "Oh, that was great," but they were the worst team in the 90s. People forget that.
Wow. Yeah, that's right.
And then, when I had a guy named Mike Jones come in my office one day, I was on the board of his foundation, and he said to me, "This is it. We're done." And I kind of snapped. And I always tell the story. I said, if you can't, then you must. If you must, then you will. If you can't be positive in my office, I can't have you as a patient. And my son looked at me and said, Dad, you're crazy. He's so much bigger than you. He can crush you. And I said, Alex, you know what? This is what I do for a living. And Mike is the same person. He plays football for a living, but we all put our pants on one leg at a time. And if I don't tell him what's really important, I'm not being faithful to myself. Well, as it happens, Mike Jones made one of the most famous tackles in Super Bowl history, known as the tackle. With a few seconds left, he made the winning tackle on the 1 half-foot yard line to win the Super Bowl. And I was fortunate enough to be playing golf with Tommy John after that and Mike Jones. And a friend of mine called me and he said, I'm having a golf tournament. Could you invite some of your players? And it was my attorney who had like a lobotomy. He knew nothing about sports. And he called me up. He was complaining, and he said, I got to pick up this guy. He's some VIP. I said, what's his name? He said, Tommy John. I said, are you kidding me? It's like Tommy
John, right?
World Series. I said, we're playing together. And we were in there playing together. And halfway through, they were shooting stories about Steinbrenner and everything. And he looked at Mike and said, what were you thinking about with a few seconds left in the game? He said, you see this guy? And I thought he was going to say something real nice about me. And he said, this is the most annoying person you could ever meet in your life. I can, I must, I will. He said, that was all snapping through my head. And then it was all over in a blink, because you never know how you're going to contribute. And then I came down here, opened up 13 clinics because it was all done after the Super Bowl, and started some clinics and went back into speaking, sold my clinics, and started an internet company called Advantage Continuing Education Seminars. We have got 8 internet companies, continuing education for attorneys and accountants and HR people, because I wanted to make money laying on the beach. So,
Nice.
you know, it was an annuity kind of program because it was something I needed to do for my own license. So it wasn't a business that was going to go away. So we grew that business pretty big, and then got back into my speaking. And my new book, The Solutions Oriented Leader, came out last year. Went to #1 the first week on Amazon, and it's in 250 closed Barnes and Nobles right now. But you can get it on Amazon.
Nice, man.
Or on Barnes and Noble for the internet, you know, because we've got some social distancing happening. So, you know, I have an entrepreneurial spirit, but more importantly, I think that most people miss the opportunities, because opportunities are right in front of your face, but we're so busy that we don't see that they're all out there on the periphery. And when we get up in that helicopter, all of a sudden we see opportunities. It's like when you buy a new car. Next thing you know, everybody in town is driving that new car. There's hundreds of them on the road.
You notice, right?
It's your mind going on search to make you right. So when you start to look, you know, and you start to ask for the opportunities, it just starts to happen.
I love that. First of all, thanks for that great reminder, because I was actually at that game in Atlanta, and I was with Coach Shula in a skybox looking right at the goal line, but I lost that bet. And so,
well, actually, Mike's story's in my first book, Living a Championship Life, A Game Plan for Success, which is all about business systems. And I tie it into that Super Bowl journey, into clock management and into, you know, systems, goal setting and things, you know, based on what the players are doing in the systems, because people forgot, again, they were the worst team in the 90s, you know, until Dick Vermeil came in and really had a belief system in one guy named Kurt Warner, and every other coach wanted him gone, which is the story most people don't know.
Well, Kurt Warner was a bag boy in a grocery store, I think.
Yeah, but he had a feeling for him, and you know, he's a connected guy. So the coach, he just knows people, he knows their hearts, which is really, you know, sometimes you've got to listen to your gut when you're with people, and know that Jiminy Cricket just doesn't lie. It's like when you took the multiple choice test and you went back and changed your answer, you usually change it from the right one to the wrong one.
I love it. So, you know, one of the things about this opportunity is I get to share my thoughts and my views. And more often than not, people are always commenting on my energy. When it comes to you, the two of us in the same room, thank God we're on the internet now, because when you and I are in the same room, talk to me about your career path and what have been the ingredients for your success. I know you've bent more towards the leadership side of things. But what are the ingredients besides the energy, which I know is busting out of this, that make you who you are?
Persistence. You know, I will take persistence over brains, over anything. I always tell this story that we don't know when we stop short of success. And I was driving down this road in Virginia one day, and the roads in Virginia were 40 miles apart. And I got a phone call from a friend of mine, and he called me and said that one of my close friends was on a boat with his father and his father's best friend. A wave hit the side of the boat, and they both went, his father's best friend and my friend went over the side of the boat and drowned. It shocked me. And right in front of me was my exit. So I got off the exit, and then I realized I got off the wrong exit. So I turned around, and I started driving the opposite direction. I wasn't really thinking. Well, I drove 45 miles in the opposite direction, and all of a sudden I realized I was going the wrong direction. So I turned around again, and I went back 45 miles again. And what I noticed was I stopped 100 yards short of the right exit. Now, how often do we know that we stopped just short of success? Had it gone another 100 yards, I would have been successful and reached my destination on time. You know, and so many of us don't see that. And that's why I say, you know, if you ask my kids what Goodmans don't do, it's in my first book, they'll say quit. I don't know the word can't. because, what's the alternative? Like I say, if you don't ASK, you won't GET. You got a 50-50 shot. What's the worst? If they say no, you're in the same spot you were 30 seconds before. They say next level.
Awesome.
So why not risk a yes?
Why not risk a yes? I love that. So obviously for speakers like you and I, the parameters and the environment and the place that we do our stuff has changed. How have you found pivoting to online, green screens, Zoom? What's your takeaway from all of the changes that happened to us overnight?
Well, we've been online since 2006. So, the portion of my business really missing is the connection that I have with the audience and getting on that plane and just doing what I love to do. So right now we're in the midst of creating a masterclass mentorship program that's going to be a mastermind group for high-end individuals that want to kind of get together and focus on their goals and objectives and work in a system together, because when we come out of this, people are going to need a coach. There's going to be small businesses where people need an ally, and most of my work has been done in big corporations. Just Saturday night, one of my favorite clients on the planet called me up and he said, I just sold our company, and they sold it for probably over $100 million. And I was their executive coach for 3.5 years. And, he said, I can't celebrate with you today, but I'm lifting a glass of champagne and thank you for keeping us focused. And, those are the things where, I get my juice when I can work with someone and really see them go from, what I call a position of, not ready to grow to openness to growth to explosion of growth. And, it's not everybody that's ready to grow, but those who are, this is the time, because the playing field is level. And I'm excited to kind of help people and show them the way.
And you've been great. I mean, firsthand, as a novice speaker years ago, I had no clue about the business. And you sort of grabbed me at the convention and said, follow me, let me introduce you to this person, let me introduce you to that person. And, you just never know where that hand is coming from. So personally, I'm grateful that you did that. Here's a question for you.
And the funny part was we actually were supposed to meet a week later. But you're so visible on social media that I saw you walking into the hotel in Dallas, not even know you were going to be there. And next thing I know, I'm connecting with the noodle.
That's so great. So I like to ask people this question. What food or drink are you drinking now, because we're sort of homebodied, that you have not eaten or had a drink in years? So I'll give you a clue. For me, it's been Yoo-hoo. I haven't had a Yoo-hoo in 100 years.
Oh my God.
Those guys from New York.
I had a Yoo-hoo a couple of weeks ago at the bagel store. When I went in to get a bagel, I saw the Yoo-hoo and I said, I just got to have it. It's more of a, yogi New York thing back in the day. I just got an air fryer. If I tell you, I don't even have to eat, and I'm buying food just to test it out. I made buffalo chicken wings for the first time in my life in an air fryer. I went and got the Frank's buffalo stuff from Publix. It's the original. And I put it in this air fryer. Went and got it from Costco, $79. The new View Brio. It comes with a rotisserie, all the 9 yards. I made a rack of laminate the other day, and you could see it cooking, and people said, you're cooking thing. It looked like a hand because it was a rack of laminate.
You've invited me over to your place a bunch of times, and unfortunately we never made it, but you are a really hospitable guy. You are, so this has got to be tough for you, not being able to cook for many.
You know what? I'm cooking for nobody. I mean, I cooked the other day. I had like 4 racks of ribs going. I'm delivering them to my mother. I have to ring and run. I ring her doorbell. I run away. But the last time I thought I'd video it was because it was kind of funny, because she opens the door, she'll sweep the food in. But my mother came out with a mask, and that was a little bit upsetting to me, I must say, to see her come out with a mask. And she's 77 years old, scraping the ribs in, and I brought her ribs, chocolate, and matzo ball soup. And it was a great combination.
Wow, what a good son you are!
I'm telling you,
a good man, a good son,
giving away coconuts to everybody. I mean, anybody wants to come over, I got hundreds of freaking coconuts. They're all over the place. So I gave coconuts to neighbors yesterday. I'm putting it out there. Anybody want to come by, get some coconuts, make Coco Locos, whatever you want to do.
In our closing minutes, I'll leave information for people to contact you and, get involved in your leadership training. If you had one last thought, that's something good, what would it be to leave the audience with?
It's a level playing field. Stay focused, stay persistent, because we're going to come out of it. And those people who are continuing with a routine, and that's so important to set some sort of a routine. You don't have to book an 8-hour day, but get a solid 4 hours of focus in and keep that routine. It'll keep your sanity. It'll keep you moving forward, and you will be ahead of the game when we come out of this.
You are a good man, Rick Goodman. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, and your friendship, and thank you for sharing something good this afternoon. You be well, my friend.
Noodle, love it. Thanks again for having me on.
See you, brother.
Take care.